Hey everyone, I hope you guys are enjoying Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak in whichever platform you're choosing to play it on. And today I wanted to talk a little bit regarding the newest reveal for the Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak Volume number 25 for the Figure Builder Set, Standard Models Plus. If you have been kind of keeping up with my channel, I believe the last time that I covered one of these type of sets were being revealed was back when volume 23 and 24 were revealed, all the way back in like August of last year. So it's been quite a while as collectors have been waiting for the newest set of monsters, specifically as part of DLC Sunbreak that were launched, of course, for the first time ever. And now these monsters are finally getting their very own figures. If you don't necessarily know anything about these type of sets, there's two sets of type of figures for collectibles that they tend to follow. The first set is usually the high value figure sets, which are, you know, modeled extremely expensive, north of $150 per. They recently revealed a brand new Volcana, and they also revealed a brand new Violet Mitsutsume figures, both of which a standalone sell for north of $150 to $175 each. So of course they're relatively expensive for just one figure. However, this figure builder set is usually something a little bit less expensive, with of course much less detail, and usually the box sets include all 6 monsters included for roughly about $60 to $70 or so. So for those budget conscious collectors who wish to get their hands on a figure of their favorite monster at the cheapest price possible, certainly this collection series has been a godsend for them. They have done previously 24 different volumes of 6 monsters per volume, so of course they've pretty much covered the entire series already. So if you don't necessarily know about them and you want to get your hands on some of those collector sets, certainly look those up. Now, the recent reveal essentially confirms that Gaismagorm, Gore, Magala, Scorn, Magnamalo, Bloodening Malzeno is what they're actually calling the Malzeno figure, and of course Silver Rathalos and Gold Rathia. Now, a few of these monsters already had figures. I believe Silver and Gold had already a figure allotted to them. There was already a basic Malzeno revealed, I want to say in volume 23 if I remember correctly, but for the first time we're seeing, I believe, a Scorned Magnamalo, Chaotic Gore Magala, and Gaismagorm. So these are certainly the first times that we're seeing these specific versions of them, although I believe also maybe Chaotic Gore might have had another version back in the day. But certainly Gaismagorm and Scorn Magnamalo, and of course this new Bloodening Malzeno, are the first time we're getting to see all of them. Now, at the same time, they also went ahead and confirmed that each one of the boxes comes with like detachable, like little paper things that where you can essentially like standees that you can place around the base of the box when you're standing the monsters in their little base, and you will be able to see, you know, kind of like the hunters fighting them or whatever the case is. At the same time, there will be some stickers with the icons for each one of the monsters kind of included inside the box as well. The traditional icons that are included in the game, which have been really popular. I think this type of design for the icons should certainly carry over for whatever the next mainline game will be, since I think they did a bang up job and people have been pretty happy with the icons for each one of the new revealed monsters. Now, I do want to give my opinions very quickly on each one of the figures, since you know, you don't necessarily see monsters like Gaismagorm be depicted all that much, and the figure itself is probably the biggest one out of the entire set, and you don't see it kind of like powered up. It is not in this red state yet, so this is the first and I believe second stages where you're fighting him. He's still relatively blue. He's not fully turned fully red and crimson glowing colors just yet, so you do get to see his weird looking mouth. And I recently saw, I believe it's the Hunters Mods whatever channel, I wish I remember their name. Huge shout out to them though if you know exactly what I'm talking about. They recently put up a video showcasing Gaismagorm in comparison to like pretty much all the other monsters in Rise and Sunbreak size wise, and Gaismagorm is just a monster all on its own level. No other monsters, even in that arena, look like to the same relative size of Gaismagorm. So when it comes to just that monster standing on his own, it's most likely one of the biggest monsters we have seen in the series so far. And this figure certainly may not do it justice, but it does stand on its own. When it comes to the bloodening Malzeno, this is just a normal Malzeno, but what they're trying to showcase here is that he's fully powered up on its own. This is the normal, typical Malzeno that you do get to fight. This is, of course, not the newest Malzeno for the bonus free title update or whatever, free title update number 6, but this is just a normal Malzeno that has been fully powered up. So certainly as a little bit of a variation from the very first Malzeno. Now Gold Rathian for me personally is certainly a favorite. I love the stance that it's got. Is just shouting, wings fully spread, beautiful color. Of course it's not gonna look as good as it might do in the pictures. It's probably gonna look a little bit more yellowish, but I'm a big fan of the colorings of Gold Rathian. And I remember originally when I fought that monster the very first time, one of the things that I did was fight it over and over and over again because I loved that original fight, and I'm a big fan of just the color of that Rathian at the end of the day. Another one that I'm a big fan of is Silver Rathalos. I love the stance of the figure. It certainly looks like the introduction sequence when you get to see it like kind of being showcased in the little trailer that they showcase. I'm a big fan of the way it stands. The wings look great. Certainly talons fully out, ready to take a big chunk at you. Another one that it looks pretty good as well, but of course we have seen high quality figures already of is Magnamalo, but this one is of course Scorn Magnamalo. So I believe this is the very first figure of Scorn Magnamalo that we get, but there is a high quality figure, one of those $150 plus type figures for Magnamalo, which looks fantastic. So this one maybe certainly not to that level, but I'm a big fan of course of the big blades. You don't really get to appreciate the flames around kind of like his paws and the tail because of just the nature of the quality of these figures, but man, when you see it in the other figures, they certainly stand out. And of course lastly is Chaotic Gore Magala. And last but not least is of course Chaotic Gore Magala's figure. Now I'm not a very big fan of this one specifically, only because you don't really get to see a lot of the gold, and I don't understand that all that well. In the game, of course, you get to see not his entire half of his body, but a big chunk of his body is certainly already transformed into Shagaru's form, full on yellow. But in the depiction of like images and stuff like that, only a certain handful of parts, usually the tip of the wings, kind of like you see in this figure, and a little bit of the side of the face, not even half of the face, gets to be fully transformed for whatever reason. Certainly the horn does as well. And the depictions, for whatever reason, they don't really show him being half and half, or at the very least 40, 60. Is more like 30 to 35, 65, 75 type of thing, which I don't understand that logic, since in the game you do actually get to see it transform more than the actual depictions. And lastly, of course, those little standees that they showcase is just a couple of the hunters from Sunbreak, kind of like some of the followers that you do get to see coming along with you, and I believe the default hunter as well, with some of those default weapon poses that we got to see. They don't necessarily say how many of those hunter poses you do get to see around the box or are included, so maybe we're looking about 6 to 8 of them at most, but that's about it. But that's all the information that I have for you guys today. I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below for, at the very least, the Hobby Japan link, where it's still available for a $64.72, so it's $65 or so, not including shipping. These are set to release in September of later this year. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.